I'm Marcella Sangregorio, and I'm going to be running 100 kilometers to Ghost Lake and back to Calgary. My mom went through the absolute ringer with cancer treatment. My mom was diagnosed with a glioblastoma brain tumor the size of a lime when I was four or 5 months old. She was given 2 years to live when I was 4 months, and she survived until I was 21. She went through countless radiation treatments, countless brain surgeries, countless seizures, and she did not quit. Every moment we were told that it was the end, and we were told that her body could not survive her treatments, or could not survive the strokes, or could not survive her seizures, and she proved the doctors wrong every time. This didn't come at no cost though. My mom, she was very weak, and my family was definitely put through the ringer with seeing the horrible, ugly side of cancer. Last time I measured the urn, it was 8.5 pounds, and I've been training with 5-pound weights, 10-pound weights in a backpack, running on the treadmill and outside with them, and it is much different than carrying the actual urn, not only because of actual weight, but also because of, the emotional weight of carrying the urn is a lot different than carrying weights. For a while, when my mom was really sick, I was telling her that I would take her to Ghost Lake just to have a girls' day and to get out with me, and it was something I said just to kind of keep her spirits up, but I knew that it was probably not possible just because of her cancer. She was so sick that if I had taken a turn too sharp, or God forbid something happened in the car, it would just not be good for her. She was really weak. So that trip to Ghost Lake never ended up happening. My mom has never seen Ghost Lake, and I didn't know that we had a lake that close to Calgary. So I really wanted my mom to see that as well, and we never had the chance to. And I had this crazy idea one day that I could run 100 kilometers, and that's kind of where the idea began. A big motivation for me is I think grief has made me very angry, and grief has made me feel very alone. Grief is something that people expect you to just get over or keep to yourself, or it's something that has a timeline and it's something that ends. And I think I want people to see that, grief is really angry. It's not always sad. It is punishment for yourself. And I really wanted to show people that I had endured so much with taking care of my mom and seeing her so sick. Running 100 kilometers is actually really easy compared to the treatment that my mom went through, the caretaking, and how hard that was. It's not different than what my mom went through. I actually got into running in a really chaotic way. I started running little 5Ks or just doing things around my block. And it came, my running came from a place of insecurity. I was really insecure in my body and how I looked and how I felt about myself. Caretaking had taken a lot from me, and I felt like I was just never able to take care of myself. I remember when it was really hard for me to reach 10K. Nigel, he works at Gord's Running Store. He also competed in the Dark 24, which is a race with Sinister Sports. That was my first ultra, and it was incredible to see him because I saw him at the Dark 24 after they had told me that they would help me with finding a pack. So I knew him, and he was just the best in that run. He came in and he would just sprint by me, and I was in so much pain. I was grabbing fistfuls of my pants on either side to pick my legs up as I walked through the ultra. I was absolutely broken, and Nigel would just sprint by me, and as he was running by, he'd go, "You got this." That did actually really add up, and I think that he played a big part in me finishing the last 2 hours of that ultra, which I almost quit early, and I just felt really supported having someone there I knew, and I felt welcomed to the running community in some way, which I think is actually really hard for new runners to experience, especially how I felt coming from having no experience or having no gym experience, having no running experience prior. Gord's Running Store was the first kind of way that I felt integrated into a type of running community. So that was great for me to feel. iRun has also been incredibly supportive. That's Ben Kaplan at iRun magazine. I remember having my first phone call with him. This was maybe 5-6 months ago, when I had my first initial phone call with Ben. And the first thing he said to me, he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I just want an article. I just want an article about my mom, about why I'm doing this, why this is important to me." And he said, "Done." And I just started crying. And I was like, this can't be happening. But it was such a big moment because that was the first time that I got confirmation that like this is actually possible beyond just me and a camera. That people will hear about it, even if it's 10 people. We were fortunate enough, my family was fortunate enough to stumble upon a home care team called Janice Home Care. They came to our house for a consultation, and it was right after that first initial meeting that me and my dad and my sister had said to each other, we said, "I think that this might work." And they began caretaking for my mom. Unfortunately, they only had 3 months with my mom before she passed. They have a beautiful staffing team. My mom she needed really specific care. If you would have seen, like, she needed every aspect of care. And Janice was the home care team that was able to handle that, able to take away our stress and worry as a family. And I'm going to be forever grateful for them and for also how they treated my mom as a person before her passing. It wasn't 3 months of hard care. It was 3 months of joy and happiness, and my mom felt comfortable with that home care team. And my mom loved her home care workers, which is really rare that you can see that. And I remember after my mom had passed, I had found a coloring book that my mom had done with the home care team. And they would sign their names. Rowie and Lisa completed this drawing on this day. Eleanor and Lisa completed this drawing on this day. And it was a really beautiful thing for me to see. After she had passed, it was like there was an aspect of my mom I hadn't known yet. And that was really, that was just beautiful to have. And Eleanor and Karis, the owner of Janice Home Care, they still reach out to my family. And they still reach out to my family and still as close as we were when my mom was alive. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you.